Hello there, and welcome to Midsumma Festival 2021 info session about registering an event. My name is Patrick, and I'm the Program Manager at Midsumma. This is a new format of information session as we can't host one physically, and we wanted to make sure we could put out something that is the highest quality that we could. I'll be speaking through the slides. As you can see, there are captions. If you require a transcript of this presentation or a copy of these slides, you can also access them on our website. I'll also be doing image descriptions. This slide has Midsumma branding on it with our signature passive red and white. The slide is half red, half white with a wave line. There is also an image of me, a brunette-haired man with beard, glasses, wearing a bow tie, smiling. The background is my bedroom/office. Now that I've stepped through the format and I've introduced myself, I would like to begin by acknowledging that ownership of these lands was never ceded and pays respect to all First Peoples of this land, especially the Kulin Nation on which the audience and artists of Midsumma gather and celebrate our communities. I'd also like to extend that and hope that anyone reading, watching or listening can also take a moment to acknowledge and consider the First Peoples of the land you are on. The slide is similar with a red bar up the top, while with white text saying the acknowledgement of country, and the rest of the slide is just slightly paraphrasing from what I've just said. And there is an image of Adam Astro, an Indigenous artist, in a dynamic stance, one arm raised, dressed in a costume of blues and blacks. The costume covers the face as they stand before a microphone. The photographer credit is Tanya McCulloch, and the artist, as I said, was Adam Astro at Lunar New Year Disco. The next slide is just a title slide that has the same background as slide number 1, a red and white screen with a wave line to separate them, and the text says Midsumma Festival 2021 with the Midsumma logo. So 2020 has been a big year, and it is only about halfway done. We at Midsumma are starting to cast our minds into 2021 and thinking about what could be. We are pretty excited about what it could be, and we hope you are too. Let's start talking through the basics. Probably focusing on the key dates is a great way to start. The Midsumma Festival dates are the 17th of January to the 7th of February 2021, our traditional 22-day festival. Our event registrations open on the 16th of June, so we are now currently in registrations open period. The event registrations close on the 24th of August at midnight. Your event contract is due in September. There's a bit of lenience there. Your venue hire agreement, which we'll talk about it later, is due on the 14th of September 2020. The split ticketing agreement is due if your venue has a split ticketing agreement with Midsumma on the 28th of September. The guide advertising also closes on the 28th of September. Your event media release is due by the 2nd of November in order to be ready for our program launch, which is at the end of November. Festival pass information is also due on the 2nd of November. Access service provider information, if you have any access aspects of your show, is on the 1st of November. And request for Midsumma Carnival roving rights is due the 14th of December. And your public liability insurance is due by the 10th of January 2021. You can find all of these on our website as well, which has some amazing information to help put together an event. If you've put on an event in Midsumma Festival in the past, this might seem familiar, and we are trying to keep things on track to not change too much year to year. But we do have to address the proverbial elephant in the room. This slide has no images, just the list of dates that I spoke through. Another red-white title screen with COVID-19 impacts as the text. Yes, even though we are not for another 6 months, it is still important to think about how COVID-19 might impact your event. COVID-19 has made a lot of things unpredictable. I think we can all agree that rules seem to be changing week by week. Most recently, Melbourne is back in lockdown. We aren't psychic, so we at Midsumma also can't say what the restrictions will be in January. I know it is exciting to think about throwing parties, hosting events, performing, seeing art, and feeling connected to our communities again, but we can't rush this. It is important to consider how this crisis may impact your work or event. Really think about the risks involved, physical, emotional, and even financial strain of putting on an event. Midsumma wants to bring the community together, and I personally want to see everything that people have created and been inspired to do in isolation, but only if we can do this safely. We are planning to be as flexible as possible, and we want to work with you, our awesome communities, to make the Midsumma Festival in 2021 the best it can be. I'll be adding notes about COVID throughout the presentation, just flagging some things to think about. So, starting, I guess, from the beginning, step 1. The image on this slide is an animated slide of 2 people social distancing, with a line between them demonstrating distance. There is text that reads, "Disease prevention, maintain physical distancing, source, World Health Organization." So you have an idea for an event. What next? I've already been having conversations with artists and community groups and have heard and seen so many ideas come about in the last few months. And if you have an idea, you are already on your way. This slide contains no images, just text, and is similar to the other title slides. For anyone who is involved in Midsumma Festival 2020, you'll be pretty familiar with Eventotron. It is our online platform a lot of open access festivals use to get registrations. It's where we kind of gather all your information about your events for the printed guide, website, and our ticketing system. This is the best place to start if you are considering an event for 2021. You don't have to finalize your registration all at once. You can update as you go and you know more details, and you can save it so it's not one big clump of data. Just remember that there is an August deadline. You might already have a login from the last festival if you are a returning artist or have done an event with a festival that has also used Eventotron. If you are new, you can find all the info on our website and just see how easy it is. If you have an event that will be returning to Midsumma 2021 and won't be changing much, like a party that might be happening again or a concert that keeps running, you might be able to transfer some of that information to save you time. Just check out our website for more details and see what's possible. Image description is another text slide here with an image that has the logo that reads Eventotron. The first O is 3 circles of green, pink, and yellow, creating a color scope by overlapping. Below it shows the website login that reads new users, email address, password, confirm password, with smaller text below. By registering, you are agreeing to our terms and conditions and privacy policy. So why would it be helpful to start a registration? Well, it is a great way to know what you don't know about your event. If you start one, fill out everything you know and see what is left. You can make a plan of attack from there. We can also see the registrations in progress, so it is a great way to let us know what you're thinking about and what event you want to make happen. We can also reach out to check in to see if we can help. Also, you can always reach out to us. Marketing-wise, it is a great way to see your copy and what you will need to write, the images you'll have to provide for the website and printed program. Plus, you can see a preview of your event listing, which is always exciting. You can also see what venues have been part of a Midsumma Festival before. We'll touch on venues a little bit later though. Once again, just reminding you, you don't have to pay for the registration until you finalise. You can log in and update 1 step a day and it will save your progress for you. Take your time. Really think through your event. Image description is that there is a long image that is of the Eventotron user interface. It shows the step-by-step process of doing a registration. Some of the steps are in boxes that are filled in with grey shading to show the percentage of that step being completed. Marketing. So When inputting information into Eventotron, you'll have to provide us with all of your marketing information. This mainly is images and copy, but here are some tips to help. Shoot an eye-catching promotional image. It's going to be something that really drags the audience to your event and will be a big part of your marketing campaign. Write both a short and a long blurb that clearly describe your show in an engaging way. Sometimes artists are a bit too descriptive with their text. Sometimes they're not enough. It's a hard balance to find, but take it step by step and just make sure that you are describing your show. There's nothing more disappointing for an audience to go into a show expecting one thing and then being delivered another. A great tip is actually getting a friend or a family member that doesn't know anything about the show to read the copy and look at the image and tell you what it's about. If it's so different from what you've got, maybe you need to relook at it. We have also added a section for not just socials, but also Google ads. So it might be some rewording of your socials copy, but we recommend filling it out so that we can support you through our Google ads for the festival. Think of your hook. Why do people want to come to your event? What makes it step out from everyone else and become a shining example of why people should come to your show? Develop a strategy, timeline, look at how you'll reach out to your audience, including a social media strategy, Facebook, Twitter, e-communications, emails. If you've got any print ideas, posters and flyers, try to look at other ways that you can also engage through like websites, blogs, online listings, all of those kind of things. You can find even more tips and resources on our Event Producer Resources webpage. Definitely check out the website to get the most out of our resources. There are a bunch of them. We are here to help as well, so feel free to reach out. We'll do our best to support you if you have any questions or queries around these things. The image description here is of a performer in a two-piece outfit. The pattern of the outfit has bananas everywhere. They're also wearing banana earrings and a banana scarf wrapped around their hair. They have a shouting expression on their face. The stance resembles a monkey-like mannerism. The photographer credit is for Suzanne Balding, and the image is from church that was at the Toffen Town. Let's talk about venues. I know a lot of us are very enthusiastic about physical events again and getting back to your audiences. We still have a few hurdles to get over before we can make that happen. And a lot of organisations have been hit hard. Venues have been really impacted. As I said before, there is a list of venues that have been part of the Midsumma Festival in the past. You can find it on Eventotron or on our website. Please note that you should talk to your venue before selecting it in Eventotron. They will have to approve it in their login, and if you haven't spoken before, it might seem a bit rude to just get a notification from Eventotron. If you are looking at doing a digital event or a visual art event, please contact us. We are working with artists to work out the best way to showcase their digital events. At the moment, we don't have a specific platform to host the works, so we want to make sure whatever we do works best for Midsumma, the artist, and of course the audience. Visual art events are normally straightforward, but the system in Eventotron where you indicate the opening times can sometimes get confusing as the interface was set up for performances in mind. We just want to know how we can jump in and help and reduce any frustration. Midsumma also asks you have an agreement with your venue. This is important. With restrictions changing and being unpredictable, we recommend talking out plans with your venue and having them in writing. This can sometimes seem aggressive, asking for an agreement. It really isn't. It helps you and the venue know what steps should be taken when unpredictable things happen, and will reduce what could become aggressive conversations down the line. We have a basic template on our website and in Eventotron that you could use. Ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, be patient and kind. We are all going through a difficult time. Image descriptions here, there are two. One is a venue set up and it is empty. The stage has instruments and microphones on it. There are plants that dress the stage, and there are fabric vines hanging from the ceiling. There is also a screen with the Aboriginal flag on it. The next image is the same venue, but zoomed out a little bit, filled with people, and the stage has artists on it. The screen now reads family. These images were captured from the event Family by Suzanne Boilding as the photo credit. As said, we won't know what the rules are in January, but we can try to plan for them. Here are some things to maybe consider. Consider the size of your audience. Will the venue only be able to hold 20 to 40% of capacity? What measures can you put in place? Will you have masks and sanitizer available? Is the stage big enough for your performers to be distant? Does your event encourage safe social practices? What are the restrictions on bars? Is it 1 drink per person, and does that affect the venue's bar income, and simultaneously will that impact your relationship with the venue? There are a lot of unknowns, and you might not know the answers to these questions. We will keep you up to date on the restrictions and provide updates through our producer updates closer to the festival. Take these questions and think about them every step. It's going to be hard, but the more we think about these things, the less we'll be surprised about them down the track. The image description is the Melbourne Spiegel tent at our volunteer briefing. There is an audience in collapsible chairs. They are looking at a woman in a Midsumma branded blue t-shirt on stage, giving a presentation with a screen that is also branded for Midsumma. One of the most important things to consider is access, and I think that's been highlighted a lot now on how people can be accessible if they put their energy towards it. Access can mean a lot of things to different people, and inclusivity and diversity is at the heart of Midsumma Festival. As such, we're dedicated to making the festival as accessible to audiences with disability as possible. We will have another video similar to this talking through access steps that can help make your event more inclusive. It is important to think about this from the onset and not just access as a tack-on. It'll be much more conducive and fluid for your event to think about that. We also have a bunch of resources and can also help put you in contact with professionals to assist in making your event accessible. It can be intimidating to taking on access and building it into your events, but it is just so much easier to do it from the start. It integrates it earlier, and it just makes life easier taking it into consideration when you're planning for your budget, for your venue, for those other aspects. If you want to be accessible and don't know how, just ask. Reach out to Midsumma and we will help where we can. With the world going through changes in the next few years, we will have to reinvent events. And what better time to make sure that we make space for everyone from the get-go? Some things you can consider in the meantime access-wise is, can your work include access elements such as Auslan interpretation, audio description, a tactile tour, or relaxed performance? Does the venue you are using have a gender-inclusive bathroom or other queer safe spaces for your audience? And does your event fall on Invasion Day? We at Midsumma strongly recommend not holding events on this day unless they are culturally significant and safe events run with or in collaboration with Aboriginal and or Torres Strait Islander people. One last added bonus, if you needed anything more than just being awesome to sweeten the pot, is that if you provide an accessible service such as Auslan interpretation, audio description, tactile tour, or relaxed performance, Midsumma will promote your event to that community that requires that service. Extra notification, extra little platform to get your event out there into that community. The image description, there are 4 access signs for Auslan interpretation, closed caption events, wheelchair accessible, and also a tactile tour. Registration costs. So, Midsumma Festival has scaled registration costs depending on how many events and if you are charging for tickets. The scale goes: free event is $295. This might be a community event or an exhibition. Priced event with 1 or 2 sessions, which goes to $380. This might be a one-off concert or if you have a 2-night season on a weekend. The priced event with 3+ sessions, which is $430. This might be a stereotypical performance season or such. We also have the after party, which is for $220. Now, these are events that register to be an official after party as part of the Midsumma Festival for Carnival and Pride March. You can find out more about these online. We also then have our community groups and independent practitioner prices. These apply to events except for the after party events. Free event goes down to $195. The priced event for 1 to 2 sessions goes to $280, and the priced event for 3+ sessions goes to $330. To be eligible as a community group, you have to have under 300,000 turnover per annum, and as an independent practitioner, you have to be earning under 75,000 per annum. The producer needs to provide proof of eligibility for this discount. This might be an annual report, tax return, other documentation that you'll see through your event registration. Some other points to consider is you don't have to pay up front. You only have to pay when you finalize the event. At the moment, the final deadline is the 24th of August. These prices are for both physical and digital events. We'll talk about digital events a little bit later. And as I've mentioned, you have to show proof to get the community group independent practitioner rate. If you are not in a financial situation to pay the registration fee up front, please get in contact and we can try and work out a plan together. If your event is forced to cancel due to coronavirus policies enforced by the government, Midsumma plans to refund registration costs paid in advance. Please keep in mind our standard refund policy applies and Midsumma retains full discretion on providing refunds. There are no images on this slide, just a table that outlines the costs that I've gone through, and that's about it. Moving on from registrations, let's get digital. In the past few months, many artists have transitioned into the digital space, and digital practitioners have been embraced by isolated audiences. Though we might be back to physical events, you may still want to do a digital event or even consider a digitally augmented event. As an open access festival, we don't run events outside of our Midsumma Presents program, and we don't want to tell you how to make an event digital. Even if you aren't going completely digital, maybe consider live streaming or how you can make your event digitally accessible. Going digital has many positives to it. It is a very safe social distancing, it can reduce venue costs, and it has the potential to reach a large audience. If you are considering a digitally augmented event such as a live stream, you could probably charge a cheaper ticket for a digital way to experience the work. This could help increase your box office while also creating a bigger audience impact and also giving you a way to capture your event for documentation, which so many artists fail to remember until it's too late. Although with this list, saying it would be easy would be wrong. It is worth considering some of the following points for your events. Does your event translate to digital? If it relies on audience or physical presence, it may be difficult and you might need to rethink it. Does your art become something new when digital? For example, does your sculpture work suddenly become photography when you're putting it online? And does that change your art? Do you have the resources to host an event? What platform would you use? Do you have strong enough tech and internet to broadcast clearly for your audience? Whatever your thoughts or questions, I recommend reaching out to us at Midsumma. These events, though exciting, have some logistic bugs to work out. Image description is a digital work of art. An animated person is being reflected in an oval mirror, standing and posing to the mirror. They seem two-dimensional while the background has three-dimensional effects on it. The background has a vase with a single purple flower in it and a smaller pot next to it. The far background has three squiggly lines, one yellow, one purple, and one spotted randomly like a Dalmatian dog. This image was taken from a work called Query by Glenn Urquhart. One of the biggest components that we'll have to think about is money. In the festival circuit and art sector, we are no strangers to bending over backwards to get money for our projects. This year is no different, if not infinitely more complex. We have an amazing list of grants and opportunities up on our website. The link is in the slides, but if you Google Midsumma list of grants, it should pop up. Or just find our producer resources page. Be aware that a lot of the funding rounds you might be used to are not the same this year. A lot of councils have been great in getting out responsive grants for COVID-19, but they have had to change their other rounds. You might have to use other avenues, such as crowdfunding. Some of the usual platforms are Possible, Australian Culture Fund, GoFundMe, and so on. These are great options and can be a brilliant way to connect with your audience and community. Though I would say, be aware of fatigue. There have been a lot of causes people have been donating to in the last 6 months. Fire and COVID relief, and also many funds supporting the Black Lives Matter movements. Your usual audience of friends, family who might be willing to give you money just might not have the resources to do that right now. We have a template budget you can access on our website and through Eventotron as well. In planning this out, try to consider what income is certain and which is not. For example, you may want to adjust the projected box office income. If you normally sell 200 out of 400 tickets across the season, but you can only sell up to 100 in total with restrictions, you may feel confident to assume you'll sell out. You also might feel like you can't reach your normal sales target, which is totally fine. I think being cautious and taking your time to really think it out and restricting financial risk is a really smart thing to do. The image description on this slide is a performer dressed as Freddie Mercury, a silver sparkly onesie, black glove, black armband, and glittery shoes. The performer is bending over backwards and reaching out towards the camera with their gloved hand. Okay, we are almost there. Thank you for paying attention for this long. If you take away anything from this video, take this slide. Here are the major points. Start your registration early. You don't have to pay right away, and you can save your progress, so you don't have to do it all at once. Start thinking about access. It is better in the process to think about it early, and don't be scared of it. Really think about your event and talk to your venue and collaborators. Have a couple of plans in place and have them in an agreement. Keep up to date with safety restrictions that have been put in place and make sure to read those producer updates when they come through. If you are thinking about a digital event or a visual art event, please get in contact with us to talk it through. Use this time to think about your marketing. Can you get images that might be useful for future events as well? Most importantly, look after yourself and those around you. It is an exciting prospect of getting back to physical events and parties, but we need to be patient and do this well. The image description for this one is a performer standing on a stage in front of 3 stained glass windows. The performer is singing into a microphone held in one hand. There are instruments placed around them on stage. The photo credit here is Suzanne Balding. Artist is Essie Holt as part of Power at Chapel Off Chapel. Thank you once again for bearing with me through this long bit of presentation. One final point is you can always contact us at events@midsumma.org.au, and our office number is 0392966600. If you call, we're not in the office at the moment, we're all working from home, but if you leave a message, we get an email message about it so we can call you back. And yeah, we would love to talk to you. Please reach out. We're only going to get through this together. Thank you once again. Stay safe, stay sanitized, and stay strong.